Greetings and welcome to the Hearth. I am Julia, and today we will be discussing essential dignities with more of a focus on planets when they are challenged. So in astrology, every planet rules one or two signs, so naturally they feel at home here, and in other signs they can feel like they're really thriving, and if anything they're actually on more of a pedestal. That is called exaltation. So a planet feels comfortable operating in a straightforward fashion when it is in the sign that it rules, or in another sign where it does really well in. So an example of this is when Venus is in Taurus or Libra, because those are the signs that it rules. And when a planet is exalted, it acts like a king or a much celebrated celebrity. So that planet is uplifted and operates with ease, surpassing challenges and getting to where it needs to in no time. So now that gives us some context. When a planet is in the sign opposite to where it feels at home or is exalted, these are very challenged places for a planet. So a planet in detriment is opposite to what it rules. So for example, when the sun rules Leo, therefore it is in detriment in Aquarius. And a planet is in fall when it is opposite to where it is exalted, so where it acts like a king. And just to use the sun again as an example, the sun loves being in Aries, that's where it's exalted because it has an easy time expressing itself there in a forthright manner pertaining to leadership. So the opposite to Aries is Libra, and Libra, as we know, is ruled by Venus, which is about relating in others, so therefore the sun is struggling to be in Libra because the sense of self is imbued with other. So now that gives us some context. Something else to just be reminded of is that there's a lot of old school astrological texts from way back when, which can sound quite harsh and deterministic, very fire and brimstone, and this can instill some fear into students, but please fear not. Because just remember, like nowadays we have a much longer life expectancy and the ability and information to become a lot more self-aware, to mature better and have a much richer inner life filled with overcoming certain things. And that means those trickier placements that you have. And with time, determination, and forever increasing our self-awareness, hopefully, there is so much more to overcome and learn from these challenged planets, because it means that you won't take those placements for granted, which is something that people with a lot of like domicile or exalted placements can tend to miss out on, because these things come so easy. And it's not to say that they can't feel that appreciation for how smooth things come into their life, but to have that depth and understanding of like how much it took for you to overcome those things, which tends to come easy to people. It's not even parallel. It's just incredibly rich in experience that these challenged planets can help us attain. And this can be seen through a learnt artist versus what we would call like a natural artist or musician. So many people, you can hear say, oh, I wish I could do art as well as you. And it's kind of like in one sense, like a slap in the face, but anyone can start it, and you see how much time and technique and effort it has taken, and you can get there, but it just shows that you have to be patient and learn various techniques on how to attain that skill set. So if you have a planet in detriment or fall, it can feel like that you are in a foreign land, not knowing how to speak that native language, and you don't have any kind of support system around you. It can feel like you're in a dungeon, or that you're a fish who has been put up in a tree surrounded by monkeys saying, just climb what we do, it's easy, see? And it just doesn't make any sense, because the thing that you see other people doing just doesn't register in your system, in your wiring. It just doesn't compute, because for whatever reason, you just know that you're wired differently. And this can be so overwhelming, and it can feel painful and frustrating that whatever that thing is, it doesn't come to you as naturally. But it is through devotion and attendance to that planet, that challenge planet, that role, that task, that you can gain something a lot more profound, deep, and irreplaceable, which is the ability to overcome and surpass any inner awkwardness, inner tension, and arise with a fresh, authentic experience and perspective on how you are able to overcome that thing, whatever that is. So as an example, let's take Venus and Aries. So Venus is the planet of relating, income, and attraction, and she struggles being in Aries due to making decisions before she can even consider her options. So on an undeveloped side, she accidentally burns bridges with lovers or friends, anyone that she likes, because of her sheer intensity and passion that overcomes her, as she is the huntress and must be fully engulfed by any objective desire. And then she lets that passion simmer down until the last embers of that dynamic are just seen fading out. And while this can sound all very exciting and even ruthless, there is a real burnout from that unintegrated Aries Venus. But a mature version of this is understanding that whenever we feel a spark from someone, this is an opportunity to look within and ask us, why do we feel this way? Do they provoke feelings of excitement? How can I create this for myself? And where do we lack that excitement in our lives? And just what can we do about this ourselves? But because Aries is about being the hunter, we just have to remember that it's actually not out there that gives us that happiness. It's a reminder that nothing out there can replace what we can create from within, and that we were never actually lacking to begin with. Another example is Saturn in Aries. So Saturn is anything to do with like weight and patience and consequence. So Aries is the sign of spring, so the lively, courageous, forthright embodiment of leadership. So an underdeveloped Saturn Aries could be someone who rejects the idea of just taking initiation, as they associate that with not being free or independent, when in fact chasing that dopamine hit before discipline and structure will continue to create a lasting devastation and suffering. But then a mature side of Saturn and Aries could be putting their full concentration into those inspirations and refining back those bursts of energy to make them a lot more constructive rather than destructive. So this placement to me really does look like you're stepping on the accelerator and the brake of a car at the same time. So finding that calculated timing to assist with movement and pause will create such a conducive momentum. I hope this explanation has been helpful, and just remember that any fallen planets that you have, it's not the end of the world. You do have the capability of overcoming them, and any triggers that we possess is a reminder of where we're not free in ourselves, but it means that we get to overcome that, and how incredible that we get to add that to our life experience, our own spiritual muscle. So thank you for listening, and please always remember that love is present when you are.